Hello and welcome to Chanakya English. Accountability or overreach. Today, let's take a deep dive to the debate on Modi government's bills to sack jailed ministers. The Modi government's introduction of three major bills aimed at disqualifying jailed ministers after 30 days has triggered one of the most heated constitutional debates in recent years. Tabled by Union Home Minister Amit Shah in the Lok Sabha on August 20th, the bills were accompanied by dramatic opposition protests, with some MPs tearing and throwing papers at the Treasury benches. Yet, amid the uproar, the government has made it clear that the Prime Minister himself will not be exempt from the proposed law, a move that supporters hail as moral leadership and opponents dismiss as political theater. The proposed legislative package consists of three bills: the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill 2025. Any union minister, including the Prime Minister, or state minister, including chief ministers, will automatically lose their position if detained without bail for 30 consecutive days on charges punishable by at least 5 years in prison. Reappointment becomes possible only after release or bail. The second, the Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill 2025 extends these provisions to union territories including Delhi and Puducherry. And the third, being the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2025, applies the same framework to the governance of Jammu and Kashmir. Together, the bills are presented as a moral corrective, aligning ministers with rules already applied to government employees who lose their job after just 48 to 50 hours in jail. According to the Union Minister Kiran Rijiju, suggestions to exempt the Prime Minister from the law were rejected outright by Narendra Modi himself. The PM said he is also a citizen and there should be no exceptions, Rijiju revealed. Amit Shah reiterated that Modi deliberately brought himself under the ambit of the law, contrasting it with the 39th Amendment of 1975, which had insulated Indira Gandhi from judicial review. For Modi, the symbolism is crucial at a time when opposition leaders accuse his government of weaponizing central agencies. He projects himself as subject to the same standard. Defending the bills, Amit Shah asked, "Is it morally right for a prime minister or chief minister to run a government from jail?" Modi himself has argued that the nation where civil servants lose jobs within 2 days of imprisonment should not allow political leaders to govern from behind bars. Political strategist Prashant Kishore has also backed the move, calling it reasonable and long overdue, insisting that the functioning of democracy requires basic moral standards for those in high office. Opposition parties, however, see the legislation as a direct attack on federalism and democratic rights. Tamil Nadu CM M.K. Stalin called it a black day for democracy, warning it undermines due process by punishing leaders without trial. Kerala CM Pinarayi Vijayan described the move as a neo-fascist strategy designed to topple non-BJP state governments. AIMIM leader Asaduddin Owaisi went further, calling it a death knell for elected governments, arguing that politically motivated arrests could become a tool to destabilize opposition-ruled states. Aam Aadmi Party, Trinamool Congress, Samajwadi Party have refused to join the Joint Parliamentary Committee (JPC) reviewing the bills, calling the process itself illegitimate. TMC, Trinamool Congress, labeled the Joint Parliament Committee (JPC) a farce and declined to nominate any members. Congress remained divided. Shashi Tharoor described the proposals as reasonable, but most of his colleagues denounced them as unconstitutional. Adding fuel to the debate, former Delhi CM and Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal fired back at Amit Shah's defense of the bill with two pointed questions on X, formerly Twitter. The person who accepts leaders accused of serious crimes, clears the cases against them, and names them minister, deputy chief minister, or chief minister. Should such a prime minister or minister resign? If someone is jailed in a false case and is later acquitted, how many years in jail should a minister face for leveling false allegations? Through these remarks, Kejriwal turned the lens towards politicians who allegedly shield or reward individuals facing criminal charges, demanding clarity on accountability. not only for the accused but for those who empower them. India has long grappled with the question of when elected representatives should lose office due to criminal charges. The key law here is Section 8 of the Representation of the People Act 1951 (RPA), which governs disqualification on conviction. Section 8, 1 and 2. Certain serious offenses such as promoting enmity, bribery, corruption, and certain sexual crimes trigger immediate disqualification upon conviction. Section 8.3 for any other offense resulting in 2 years or more of imprisonment, an MP or MLA is disqualified from the date of conviction and the ban lasts for 6 years after release. Before 2013, convicted legislators could avoid disqualification if they appealed within 3 months, the protective window. After 2013, in Lily Thomas v. Union of India, the Supreme Court struck down this protective clause, holding that convicted lawmakers must lose their seat immediately. The Modi government's proposals mark a sharp departure from the Representation of the People Act framework, from conviction to custody. Under RPA, disqualification requires a conviction. The new bills propose removal after 30 days of detention without bail, even before trial. Targeting ministers, not legislators. RPA applies to MPs, MLAs. The new bills focus specifically on executive officers, ministers, chief ministers, and even the prime minister. Preventive rather than punitive. RPA punishes only after judicial guilt is established. The bills act preemptively, seeking to prevent jailed leaders from governing. Critics argue this undermines the presumption of innocence, a cornerstone of Indian democracy. With trials stretching for years, pre-trial detention itself can function as punishment. Potential risks include politicized arrests. Central agencies could be used to jail opposition leaders and delay bail, effectively toppling governments. Disqualification by default. Bail hearings, often stretched beyond 30 days for technical reasons, could decide the fate of ministers without any judicial verdict. Shift in philosophy. Where the RPA insists on conviction, the new bills act on mere arrest and prolonged custody. During the 1975 emergency, using the 39th Amendment, Parliament insulated Indira Gandhi from judicial review of her election, a move now seen as authoritarian. Modi cites this to argue the present bills, which include the Prime Minister, represent moral restraint rather than privilege. In 2013 Lily Thomas case, the Supreme Court's intervention was hailed for accountability, but also led to cases where legislators lost seats despite later acquittal. The current bills risk repeating this problem, but at an even earlier pre-convention stage. Other democracies worldwide also wrestle with the balance between due process and political accountability, but most lean toward waiting for conviction rather than penalizing custody. United Kingdom. MPs are not disqualified by mere arrest or detention. Disqualification applies if an MP is sentenced to more than 1 year in prison. The Recall of MPs Act 2015 allows constituents to petition for removal in cases of misconduct, but again, only after conviction or suspension. United States. Legislators and even governors can remain in office while under indictment or in custody, unless state constitutions impose specific limits. For example, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich continued in office until impeachment proceedings removed him, not his arrest. Australia. Under Section 44, Part 2 of the Constitution, a person convicted and sentenced to 1 year or more in prison is disqualified. However, as in India's RPA, conviction, not custody, is the trigger. South Africa. Ministers must step down if convicted and sentenced, but arrests or pre-trial detentions do not automatically force resignation. India's proposal to disqualify on detention without conviction would be one of the most stringent anywhere in the democratic world, marking a radical break from global norms that prioritize the presumption of innocence. So what's the road ahead? The bills have been referred to a joint parliamentary committee, but their passage will require a two-thirds majority in both the houses, making bipartisan support essential. The government insists safeguards are built in. Removal only applies to serious charges greater than 5 years imprisonment, and bail within 30 days prevents disqualification. Still, the political battle lines are clear. BJP frames the bills as a moral and democratic reform, while opposition parties see them as a constitutional overreach designed to cripple rivals. Based on what we have seen so far, the Modi government's proposed amendments embody a paradox. They promise accountability by holding the highest officers to the same rules as ordinary citizens, yet risk creating a tool for political coercion in a system where arrests often precede conviction by years. Kejriwal's counterattack reframes the issue. Accountability must be universal, not only for those jailed, but also for those who empower the accused. And the global comparison underscores the stakes. While other democracies tie disqualification to conviction, India may be on the verge of creating an arrest-driven model of accountability. Whether that strengthens democratic morality or undermines due process will depend on not just on the law, but on how it is wielded in the years ahead. The mic goes silent now, but the ideas echo on. Join us again soon.